What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic day. I'm back again, and we talked earlier about the initial injury report, the first of the season. We are 3 days away from game day, so keeping you up to date with all those injuries, go check that out. But as I mentioned in that show, going to put this show together, then drop it probably a couple hours later. So this will come out tonight. Love to hear from you guys regardless. Any thoughts, questions on these players, the moves we made? Love to hear from you. But let's start it off here with the moves that were made. So Jack Driscoll returns, was spending time there with the Dolphins, obviously. And we talked about Driscoll, somebody who can play tackle and guard for us, provides that versatility. And we've also talked about the lack of depth. So he gives us another lineman, somebody that knows the system, somebody that stout knows. So look, I'm all about adding depth and somebody that can help out. And then Kyle Phillips, we'll talk about him here in a second. I think, getting another slot wide receiver, it can help you in the return game, for practice, not a horrible idea. You never know, maybe a diamond in the rough, but we'll talk about him in a second. Now, to get those two guys on the practice squad, because the practice squad is full, Caden Stearns and Kevin Foelsch were released. So, again, some of these guys might be back in a day, 2 days, next week, 2 weeks. Do not, try to get too worked up. I know a lot of people, like certain players that get let go, but it's just kind of a revolving door for some of these guys off and on and, what they need for that week. And just keep tuning in and I'll keep you up to date with all these moves. But just know that it happens every week all of the time. So, look, let's talk about Kyle Phillips. That's a young man that this will be his third year in the league, and somebody we talked about a couple of years ago out of UCLA. But so far in his career with the Titans, he was a fifth-round pick back in 2022, 5'11", 189. He's 25 years old. This, again, is his third year. And, look, he played 13 games, didn't have any starts, but 23 catches, 259 yards, so 11.3 yards per catch, no touchdowns. So not getting the ball too much, not used too much there. Some injuries got him. And you can see one kick return, 13 yards, and then 9 punt returns, 9.4 yard average isn't horrible. But he's somebody that, looking at these, you might not be too ecstatic. And again, you always take stats with a grain of salt. But I think what they're looking at, is his time with UCLA there, where, we talked about him again a couple of years ago. He spent 4 years there at UCLA. He played in 34 games, had 23 starts, 163 catches, 1,821 yards, 11.2 yards per catch, 17 touchdowns there. And he punt returns the ball pretty well. 2 touchdowns there, 19.8 yards per return. But this is somebody that, didn't have great speed. I think it's like a 4.58, I want to say 40 time. But he's somebody that goes out there and, he plays ball. And he reminds you, and obviously he's like a white little, guy. And he's not too little. 5'11" is a decent size. But, he's that slot receiver and doesn't have great speed, but he catches the ball well. He has good footwork. And he's somebody that, with that return ability, using screens. And I know people don't want to hear that word, but, it's somebody in practice. Hey, anything ever happens, you need him. He's somebody with return ability as well. So with the new kick return rules, it's kind of like being a punt returner where, you can throw those guys back there and see how they do. So maybe, God forbid, anything happen, of that Covey mold, of the Paris Campbell, so you've got some guys on the practice squad now. You got some options here, a few wide receivers. So let's take a look at this full practice squad now with those 2 added and the 2 taken off, and even less now on the defensive side. My camera, I'm not sure why it's doing that, but that's cool. So you only got 4 guys on defense, and you can see 13 on offense here. And I try to break them up where you've got the quarterbacks, then the running backs, receivers, tight ends, and then linemen. So Greer, as we talked about all offseason, he's going to be that practice squad / coach kind of guy. So that's where he's at. TDP is our practice squad running back. And then you've got Paris Campbell, Griffin Hebert, Kyle Phillips, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, and any of these new players, you can always find the videos in my playlist, the roster moves, anything like that are always there. And there is a roster moves playlist. Check that out. But tight ends, Jenkins and Stoll. We added Stoll the other day. Driscoll back now. So you've got a guy that brings versatility to the outside as well. where Gates and McMahon are interior guys. Toth can play all over. Don't really want him all over, but regardless. Lakin Vakalahi there. He is somebody, exempt because of that international player program. So that's why you have 17 guys you see here. But, 16 technically. Anyways, that is your full list of the practice squad. And that is all I've got for you. But, I'm happy to have Driscoll back because we've talked about the lack of depth and God forbid anything happen, but he's on the practice squad. So we'll see. And people get worked up about this. I've already seen the comments, but it's just somebody that knows the system. God forbid, again, anything happen, you have him. And the same goes for Kyle Phillips. It's the practice squad. But, two guys of the mold, of guys we have, and you never know what could happen. So you want to have pieces in place just in case. So love to hear your thoughts on this. All I've got for you. You can always reach out, whether it's about the birds, about life. Always here for you guys as you are for me. This camera's getting beat up. I'm beat up, ready for a little shutout here. But, been a long day. Again, going to try to put this out a little bit later. So I hope to hear from you guys, what you guys, have on your mind. 3 days away, ready to run through some walls, baby, and go check out Behind Enemy Lines. Green Bay Packers, everything you need to know. The initial injury report also put out earlier. Go check those videos out. But all I've got, if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button. You can share this stuff, which I truly appreciate. Subscribing to the channel, that stuff really means the world to me. Cannot thank you enough for your support. But until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!